obviously everybody wants to play such an epic character like that, or at least I would, you know. So anything kind of in that realm, or yeah, like a free, fun, like another, you know, Sex and the City type role, anything like that. Yeah.
One other thing that's actually really interesting to me, is there anybody you can think of that's like a well-known famous person that you think like I would love to like play that person if I either?
You know, I mean, there's not anyone I'm kind of like eyeing right now, but since I have a production company and I am looking into certain roles. I don't want to give anything away because all of a sudden I'll say, oh, I want to play this person, and then the next thing I know, somebody else is developing that project. So there's a couple more obscure characters I'm interested in. Hopefully in the next year or two, I'll be able to put something together for that. Yeah. Who else?
You know, I have a question.
Okay. I accept questions from up front.
I have a microphone, you can't stop. You mentioned when you go in for a role like Glory, do you know that that's going to be the big bad? Like, from the start, did they tell you that these are the points throughout the series, throughout the season, she's going to be the ultimate evil?
Well, that's a good question. The interesting thing about auditioning for a Joss Whedon show is at least the time when I auditioned for Buffy, there was a lot of secrecy around everything. So even when I got it's called the sides, the lines that you kind of have to memorize for your audition. The character was called Sherry, and it was for one episode. So I think they were like, let's test this character out, let's see if anybody, you know, if we can maybe work it in or whatever.
Where does it hinge? Like, where suddenly do you know?
I think if I would have sucked, then
Yeah.
maybe they wouldn't have had Glory, you know, I don't know. You know, and a lot of people initially didn't really care for the character. So I think that they wanted to make sure, I guess, that people were responsive because this show has such a loyal fan base, you know. I think with some characters, they may have been like, okay, this is our big bad. Like, I'm sure during season 1, they knew exactly how they were going to arc their whole season. But for my particular season, there was, you know, it was an episode per episode kind of situation. Like, okay, now we're going to take you in this direction. Now we're going to do this.
So do you get each script and go, all right, so I die in this one?
Yes, that's exactly what I do. I come through and I'm like, oh, good, I'm still here, you know. So yeah, that's one of the interesting things about that show as well. Yeah. Backlash from, oh yeah, there were tons of people who hated me. And that's okay, because, you know, it's obviously it's a character, you know what I mean? But I remember when my first episode aired, somebody got online and was like, ooh, people are not saying nice things about you. And I was like, well then please don't tell me, because I have to go to work and keep going. I don't want to know that everyone thinks you know, that I'm whatever, they don't like my character, or they don't like my acting, or whatever. So, but you know what, honestly, that's, especially now with the technology there is, and with, you know, you being anonymous when you're posting something online, whether you use your name or not, you're still not having a conversation with someone. There's no real, you know, accountability. And for myself as well, you know, that's just kind of one of the things that you have to deal with being an artist nowadays, is everyone's going to have an opinion, and not everyone's going to like you. And now people have a voice to say that, whereas it used to be like, they'd have to come up and tell you, yeah, I don't like you. Well, now you can just go online and read it, you know? So you have to have a little bit of a tough skin, I think. Yeah. Sure. Let's see. How have I got into acting? Well, when I grew up in Ohio, and I did absolutely everything that I could do in Ohio. I did all the theater, and, you know, whatever local productions I could be a part of. And when I was applying to colleges, I really only wanted to go to NYU, so thankfully I did. And I got into their theater program, so I studied theater there. And then when I graduated, again, I just auditioned for everything. And I mean, for me, there's never been, and I don't think in my career still, there's been that one huge breakout role. You know what I mean? I mean, Buffy was awesome, but I wasn't on for, you know, 5 years. I was on 1 year. And Bring It On obviously did really well, but, you know, I haven't had that huge hit. So for me, it's always just been about auditioning and working hard and staying creative and staying kind of current. And I think one of the hardest things about being an actor is staying emotionally available, you know, and not being jaded by maybe, you know, whatever happens in your life, if you go through a bad breakup or if you have, you know, bad situations. It's not just about being optimistic and happy, but it's about staying in a place where you can still be creative, which is not always the easiest thing to do, you know. So my advice to people who want to be actors is always just like go out there, study, persevere, and like try to get into every aspect of the business. Don't just limit yourself to, you know, being in front of the camera. If you want to be an actor, then learn how to direct and learn what the you know, grip does and learn what